Hi everyone, my name is Bhuvesh Sharma, and today we'll be recreating a recipe for Spanish rice from the Family Meals Cookbook by the Department of Health and Welfare in Victoria, British Columbia. Now this cookbook came out in 1952 and is a practical guide for homemakers. It offers meal planning tips, budgeting advice, and nutritious, economical recipes based on Canada's food rules. It includes cooking methods, shopping strategies, and a wider range of recipes for everyday family meals. Altogether, the book holds together about 48 pages and serves as both a cookbook and an educational tool for promoting healthy and affordable eating. So today, we'll be making Spanish rice. The recipe calls for 3/4 of a cup of uncooked rice. We'll have 1.5 cups of sliced peeled onions. We're gonna have 3 tablespoons of fat. We'll have 1 can of tomatoes, which is equal to about 3.5 cups. We're gonna have 1 3/4 teaspoons of salt. We'll have 3 whole cloves, 1 bay leaf, 3 spoons of granulated sugar, and the recipe also provides some variations with meat. So today we'll be making it with chopped wieners. For the casserole, we'll also be having some grated mozzarella cheese. Okay, so I gave the rice a good wash. Now it's time for us to boil it in 4 to 5 cups of boiling salted water. So let's go ahead and get all that in there. So now we're gonna let it cook until it's nice and tender. So once we're done, we're gonna go ahead and drain it and keep it on the side. Next, we're gonna add 3 tablespoons of sunflower oil, which I'm substituting for fat, into a pot. With this, we're also gonna add our sliced peeled onions, our bay leaf, and our cloves. So now we're gonna go ahead and cook this until it's about golden brown. Now for the next step, we're going to add the remaining ingredients, which is going to be the can of tomatoes, the sugar, the salt, and the chopped wieners. So now we're going to go ahead and let it simmer for about 15 minutes. So while it is cooking, we're going to go ahead and preheat our oven to about 350 degrees Fahrenheit. So now it's time to add the rice. So now we're going to go ahead and give it a good mix. The goal is to soak up as much of the tomato as we can, since clearly we have a lot here. Now it's time to get our casserole ready. So we're going to give it a quick drop of oil just to get it nice and greased up. So once our rice is all mixed up, we're going to go ahead and get ready to put it all in our casserole dish. Now once it's in the casserole, we're going to go ahead and give it a nice good layer of cheese. So today we're going to be using mozzarella, unfortunately because I do not have any marbled cheese. So we're going to give it just a small layer on top, and then we're good to go. Now once we have a nice and generous layer of cheese on top, we're going to go ahead and get ready to place it in the oven. So now we're going to let it cook for about 30 minutes. So we're going to leave the casserole here on the counter now. We're going to let it cool off before we give it a taste. Okay, so now that we cooled it off, now it's time to go ahead and give it a try. It's definitely a lot of flavor. I would say that's pretty sour though, because of all the tomato, I'm guessing. A lot of different flavors there. Now I'm gonna go ahead and say that this wasn't a complete success. I do feel that it was a little bit burnt, especially with the cheese on top. Now I'm not too sure why the cookbook says to bake this at 350 degrees for 30 minutes. I do feel that it could have been cooked at a lot less time. Now in terms of the salt, it is a little bit less for my liking. You know, coming from an Indian background, I do feel that I'm definitely a lot more used to a lot more salt, even garlic for that matter. You know? However, I would say that, the hot dog did come as a good addition. I do feel like for next time, I do want to put some ground chicken. Maybe that would make it more savory. I do feel like meat definitely belongs on this recipe. Now, throughout this process, I found how crucial concentrated ingredients like bay leaf and cloves are in adding flavor. Even with it being such a small size, they make a huge difference and ensure that your recipe isn't bland. Now, overall, I thought that it was a pretty simple dish to make, and I definitely want to experiment with this in the future. Thank you for watching.